Welcome LearnWake members, this is Brandon Judd, and today I am responding to a video analysis request. This one's uploaded by user deniscooper, and this is on a heelside wake jump and just kind of some overall wakeboarding. In the description down here, thanks for this, Dennis, he says, just started wakeboarding last year and the season in the UK has just started again. Looking for feedback on my form and positioning. I know I have a lot to learn. So first of all, you're in the right spot. So thank you for coming to us with this. We're really excited to be able to help you progress. Welcome to the site, and we will be working on a few things for you here today. The first thing I'm going to do is just kind of give you my take on your heelside jump and your riding overall. And then we're going to go through a whole bunch of drills that you can practice that will help speed your progression up so you'll be jumping faster. And part of the weird thing about progression at this level is if you were to just try to keep jumping again and again and again, you would only get so far, and it would take you a really long time to get past that hurdle. However, if we instead have you not jump for a little while and just work on a bunch of these other drills, when you return to jumping, doing your heelside wake jumps, those will just become much better, much faster with a lot fewer falls if we do it this way. And then by the time your jump feels consistent, which should happen faster if we do it this way, by the time your jump feels consistent, you'll already have built some foundation for future tricks and other riding and edging positions. And this way it just seems like you really are chomping at the bit to start jumping, but it seems like it's backwards. But if we do it this way, you actually end up jumping better, faster, even though it's a little counterintuitive. So, all right, let's get started. Let's take a look at this. I noticed your toe side edging out was really very mellow. It wasn't a very hard lean. And then when you edge back into the wake, you edge in kind of aggressively at first, and then you flatten off of your edge a little bit, and you'll see right here the wake is pushing up against your feet really hard, and as you're edging through the wake, your knees are actually getting higher and higher. So you're bending at the knees a lot and absorbing all of that. So you see right here the wake is pushing at you the most, and your knees are the most bent. So let's go back and take a look at that again. So you'll see how your legs are tall right now, and then they get a little more bent, a little more bent, a little more bent, all the way until really bent right here. What this is going to do is, this is like jumping on the trampoline. You know how when you want to stop bouncing, you just absorb that last bounce with your knees and you'll stop bouncing? That is essentially what you're doing here. And it's human nature when something's pushing at us and we're uncomfortable to get into a lower body position to be able to react to that. But what that does is it just kills your pop. So it's just a discomfort thing right now, and I'm going to give you some drills that are going to help you get past that. And then you fell back against the rope without a lot of line tension just because of the way you jumped there, and that caused you to fall back on your heels. So you're on the right track. We just got to get your comfort level up, and I see that being the biggest hurdle for you right now, is we just have to boost that comfort level. You have to be more comfortable not only on the board but also leaning on edge and being able to trust that position at the wake to stand tall and resist the pressure from the wake. The wake's going to push at you really hard. So we need you to learn to be comfortable and trust the line tension to hold you upright if you stay stiff. So that's about it there. Now let's walk you through some of these drills that are going to really help you. In the forums here, it looks like we had gone back and forth a little bit on some questions about having a hard time edging out on your toes. And I'm going to just direct some of our other members who are now joining us kind of back to that. This is called "Struggling to Toe Side Edge Out Far" is the name of the thread. So in here you'll see in this comparison, you'll see Kurt is really nice and tall and kind of arched backwards almost over the tail. And then you'll see he's opposite here and arched forward toward his toe side edge. And this is just a result of leaning the direction you want to go, as we had kind of mentioned in this forum here. So This goes with heel side too, not quite as obvious with heel side, but you always want to rely on the line tension to lean. You'll notice that Kurt's direction that his body is leaning is directly against this rope, and he's using the board to position some pressure between him and the water so that he can have leverage to lean against the rope and build this line tension, and that results in more pressure against the bottom of the board. And then here you'll see he's leaning kind of the direction he's going mixed with against the rope a little bit. So it just is a weaker edge, and you'll see that the board is at less of an angle in the sense that I can't see as much of the bottom of the board. Like the bottom of the board is not facing me very much, so it's not generating a lot of pressure. Whereas when we look at this one, you can see a lot more of the bottom of the board, and it's generating much more pressure against the edge, against the bottom of the board. So those are just some principles I wanted to point out. And I know in the forums I had already kind of pointed you towards this heel side jumps, the standing tall drill video, and you mentioned that this helped a lot, as well as I pointed you toward the toe side leverage drill. And both of these are great drills to practice when you're trying to work on edging out stronger on your toes and then standing taller and resisting the pressure from the wake in this standing tall drill. So those two we've already kind of covered, just catching everyone else up. And here's the next few drills I want you to work on. This one is called the feeling your feet drill, where you intentionally edge out and break the fins loose and slide just a little bit, just to where you can recognize when your fins are tracking and when they're not. And it helps you with the line tension. You'll use the handle to kind of help leverage you around a little. This is going to help you fix issues in the middle of your edge. If you're edging into the wake and you'll notice your board starts to break loose, you'll learn how to fix it. And also when you land, it'll be the same thing. So watch this whole video. It's called Feeling Your Feet Drill. We'll go back to the opener here. Feeling Your Feet Drill. You can just search that in our videos section and you should find it pretty easily. And then that's a good one to help with board control. You can do it switch and regular. The next thing is the ultimate warm-up. This is something that you should build up to, but this is a goal that you should have before going wake to wake. Your goal should be to perfectly execute this. So what you'll be doing is you'll be edging in nice S turns with two hands on the handle when you edge away from the boat, one hand on the handle when you edge toward the boat, and this teaches you how to resist the line tension on your way out. So when you're leaning away from the wakes, this rope is going to be tight, and you're going to learn how to resist that and use it to edge out. And then when you're coming back into the wakes, you're not really going to be relying on the line tension. The rope goes kind of loose, and you're just relying on your own board control to come back into the wakes. And then once you're able to do some of those carves, switch and regular, you'll do some ollies out in the flats to warm your legs up, and then some re-entry ollies, which there's some videos on that here as well. And if you do that before you start doing your wake jumps, you'll be a lot warmer and your initial falls won't be so harsh. But what it will do in a sense is really improve your ability to edge. That's the idea, is we want to get you really comfortable with this so that your board control skills are really strong. And then do this switch stance and regular stance as well. A drill that supports that is called loading the line, the hard lean drill. If you're having a hard time really edging hard, and you find that you're just going too slow and you don't feel like you're able to really edge out very far, there's a drill in here. Excuse me. There's a drill in here that you can practice on your heels. You can also replicate it on your toes. Keep in mind, if you do it really hard, the boat driver is going to have to compensate a little bit because it's going to want to turn the boat. You'll be leaning so hard. So that's one to keep in mind. The next one I'd have you do in relation to the ultimate warm-up is some on-land ollie training. If you're having a hard time getting the board out of the water on your ollies, this video is really helpful. You can basically just take your fins off on land, and it will teach you how to pop the board out of the water, and you can start doing some more mellow stuff. The next one is, and I mentioned do a lot of these things switch. The next one is a drill of how to speed up your switch riding progress. You may feel incredibly uncomfortable with your opposite foot forward, and that's very normal and natural. But it's one of those things where if you spend a tiny bit of time switch every single set, you'll find that by the end of the summer, your switch and regular will both feel pretty comfortable. So there's a few drills in here that will help people not feel so uncomfortable when they're riding switch. The next drill, I know we're overloading you with homework here, but the next drill is called getting into the cuffed riding position. Ideally, you should be able to ride forward and backward on the water equally as comfortable. So if we kind of scoop forward here, you can see some of these steps. You can practice just in the middle of the wakes at a slow speed, practice getting the handle behind your back. This sets you up for spins. It also gets you comfortable looking away from the boat. And if you're comfortable riding backwards, your comfort level immediately improves going forwards. Take anything to the extreme and anything less feels easy. So we really break it down here in the difference between, the normal riding position and then the edging cuffed riding position. So looking toward and away from the boats. So that's another one I recommend, is called the getting into the cuffed riding position. So again, you can search these in the videos section. You can just type this in and it should pop up right away. Alright, and then once you start jumping the wakes again, I just want you to watch these videos to refresh yourself. So this one's called Heel Side Jumps, the perfect setup. And what this will do is this will train you on how to start edging into the wake. You'll edge in a little bit more seated position, and you'll hold that seated position until the wake. And then you'll notice, if you watch Kyle's legs, they've pretty much stayed low almost this whole time. And then the closer he gets to the wake, the straighter his legs get and the taller he gets. So I'll have you watch that one more time. So again, nice and bent here, which is kind of the opposite of yours. You were tall in this position. And then when you edge in, you started getting lower and lower and lower, whereas Kyle is getting taller and taller and taller until he's fully locked out at the wake. And you'll see just how tall he gets. I mean, if you're 6 foot 1 inch tall on a measuring stick, when you hit the wake, you should be standing 6 feet 1 inches tall. You know what I mean? You want to get every last bit of height out of you so that you can use that for leverage and to resist the pressure that the wake is going to push against the board on. This video will take you through all those steps of how to properly set up for your heel side jump. And likewise, when you start doing some small toe side jumps, I know these are uncomfortable because you have to be twisted, but don't ignore them. Just do a couple small ones every time, and eventually, just like your switch riding, eventually they'll get more and more comfortable. So toe side jumps, the perfect setup, is the name of this video, and it goes over the differences there and how to properly edge out on your heels in a good body position, and then how to come in to the wake on your toes without slowing down too much or edging too many times, and so on. And that'll help you get wake to wake pretty quick. So overall, you're in a good position to learn, and we're really excited to have you here. Thanks again for uploading the video, and especially for that description. It really lets us get in your head. Sorry for the little bit of delay we had on these videos. We had a little technical issue that set us back a couple days, but we're glad to have you on here, and hit us up in the comment section below if you have any further questions, or you can improve your riding a bit with some of these suggestions and upload another video and we'll analyze that one. Thanks again.